The Rothschild family, the largest bank of the 19th century, owes much of its fortune to the Napoleonic Wars. However, legends and facts intertwine regarding how they acquired this immense wealth, adding an air of mystery to the Rothschilds. In this video, we will attempt to summarize the Battle of Waterloo and the events that followed, as detailed in our book, A History of Banks. If you want to learn more about financial history, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you ever find yourself in Belgium, you must visit the battlefield where the Battle of Waterloo occurred, 25 kilometers south of Brussels. Today, visitors to this area see endless green fields dotted with small groups of trees and groves. The springtime scenery resembles a painting by the Impressionist artist Monet. The most striking structure in this area is a lion statue on a high hill that can be seen from all sides. The lion's right paw rests on a globe symbolizing the world, and with all its grandeur it depicts the courage of those who fought in this battle. The Battle of Waterloo, where both sides fought bravely, brought two of history's most famous commanders face to face. At the head of the British Army, fighting Napoleon's forces on various fronts across Europe, particularly in Spain, was the cool-headed and arrogant Duke of Wellington, Arthur Wellesley. Arthur Wellesley was a man who stood out for his strategic intelligence, discipline and sense of duty, but he was also cold, harsh, and conservative. The Dutch and Prussians were also his allies. Napoleon Bonaparte commanded the French army. Napoleon became Emperor of France in 1804, following the chaos that ensued after the French Revolution. After conquering all of Europe, he returned from his campaign in Moscow in complete defeat. He was exiled to the island of Elba in July 1814, losing his throne. 9 months later, Napoleon escaped from the island, regained control of the country, and took command of his army. The outcome of this war would determine who would shape Europe's future. Would it be the French, whose economy relied on military power and taxes from occupied territories? Or the British, whose system was based on borrowing and banking? Undoubtedly, securities investors and bankers were most eager to know the outcome of this war. On the afternoon of June 18, 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte was riding his grey horse named Marengo back and forth on a hill south of the Waterloo Plain, carefully watching the movements of the British army. Napoleon was impatient, issuing orders left and right, eager to start the battle and win as soon as possible. What was troubling him was the Prussian army, which had joined the battle on the British side. He did not know exactly where they were and needed to end the fight before the Prussians arrived on the battlefield. Rain delayed the battle until noon, when French infantry attacked. By 2 p.m., the English lines were breaking and enemy troops were retreating. Confident of victory, Napoleon told the colonel, "Tell Paris we've won." By 3 o'clock the Prussian army would appear behind the hill. Napoleon's worst fears were coming true. He was now trapped between two armies. Yet 2 days earlier he had defeated the Prussians in battle and driven them north. By splitting the enemy army in two, he had separated the British from the Prussians. The arrival of the Prussians would change the course of the battle, and despite Napoleon sending his most trusted, experienced soldiers into the battlefield, he would lose the war. Since it was known that the Rothschilds had become wealthy at the end of this war, a legend emerged. According to this legend, the first rumors of the war that reached London spoke of a French victory. Tension had reached its peak on Lombard Street, with rumors spreading from every corner. Investors had their eyes fixed on Nathan Rothschild. This renowned London banker came from a prominent banking family with commercial interests across Europe, including Germany, France, Austria, and the United Kingdom. He had been providing financial support to the Duke of Wellington's army for some time. According to this legend, the family had a personal communication network that enabled them to gather intelligence from different parts of Europe, including carrier pigeons, and they were very good at using this information. It is believed that much of the Rothschild family's wealth was due to their ability to learn about important world events before others. Everyone was curious about what Nathan Rothschild would do, as his investment decision would serve as a signal for the market. If Nathan bought, it would indicate a victory for England; if he sold, it would signal a victory for France. According to a widely circulated rumor, the Rothschilds took advantage of this situation and used their information advantage to amass a fortune. Rumors suggest that Nathan, who had learned the battle's outcome 2 days earlier through a pigeon-based communication network, was aware that everyone was watching him. When the stock market opened on Monday, June 19, Nathan began selling. This news shook London like a bomb, triggering a massive panic. It was clear that Napoleon had won and the London stock market was collapsing. By the end of the day, as stock and bond prices began to plummet, Nathan quickly shifted to buying. Prices had fallen so sharply that he could almost acquire securities for next to nothing. According to claims made then, the money earned exceeded £80 million in today's currency. However, historians such as Niall Ferguson argue that this is not true, claiming that when news of the war's outcome reached Nathan Rothschild, he immediately informed the British government. There is no dispute, however, that the war brought them immense wealth. According to Ferguson, the British government anticipated the post-war economic boom and invested in government bonds. When the price of these bonds rose after the war, they made a huge profit from this speculation. In the end, the real winner of the Battle of Waterloo was the Rothschild family. Of course, our story does not end here. They would play an essential role in establishing international bond and gold exchanges in Europe, and for a time, no country could wage war without financial support from the Rothschilds. Behind their success lay the turbulent business environment marked by the Napoleonic Wars, economic crises, and the opportunities these created. You can find more information in A History of Banks. Enjoy your reading and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.